Hello, everybody. All right, so welcome to the Mikestand Weekend Edition. Y'all, don't know if, of course, we will have. I did send out some invites, but Rick told me he wasn't going to be here tonight. He had some other things going on, so but hopefully we'll have some people in here to chat it up. And with that, we'd hope everybody's had a good weekend. Probably talk a little bit about what I read, of course, Friday night. Also, just get caught up on other things, depending upon how things go. Just again, waiting around for see if anybody shows up. Oh, I guess what? Gummy bears bouncing here and there and everywhere. Find adventure that's beyond compare. They are the gummy bears. They are the gummy bears. Life is like a hurricane here in Duckburg. Race cars, lasers, aeroplanes. It's a duck blur. Might solve a mystery or rewrite history. DuckTales. Ooh. You've been waiting, I've been waiting. DuckTales. Ooh. You've been waiting, I've been waiting. DuckTales. And then a stranger out to find you. Grab onto some ducktails. Ooh. Let's see. Chilly Willy all the time. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. Strong to the finish 'cause I eat my spinach. Popeye the Sailor Man. So we have a third person here. Hello. A reminder, of course, everybody, if you can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. Try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, we're just, again, waiting around for people to show up here. Let's see. Of course, as I said, feel free to ask anything if maybe I can answer questions. We're waiting for see if any panelists show up tonight. Hmm. Hmm. On Moon Mesa, where the cowboys roam, everyone wanna live by the code of the West. On Moon Mesa. Let's see now. I was waiting for some panelists to come in. I guess one thing I can talk about, I did watch second to the last episode of Naruto Shippuden last night. That was a pretty fun watch. Things are culminating for Naruto and Hinata's wedding in that last episode. So everybody's kind of worried, but then they didn't realize that the rule that was on the books there was done at a time of war, for one thing, and also Hinata had to remind Kakashi that he's the Hokage now. He can do things as he sees fit. So, um, let's see. Oh, anybody watching any interesting, reading any interesting comics or or watching any interesting animes or cartoons you guys want to talk about? Hmm. Let's see. Well, All In did happen earlier today. So, and at least some of the big highlights include Brian Danielson did actually win the AW World Title from Ford Strickland. Mariah May beat Tony Storm for the women's championship. Let's see. New six-man tag champions were crowned as Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta of the Blackpool Combat Club um, teamed up with Pac to defeat, of course, the former champs, the Patriarchy, as well as the House of Black and the um, the Bang Bang Gang. Um, Hook regained the FTW title. Yeah, okay, somebody finally had something. Let's see what's your favorite P dot movie? I have no idea what P dot is. So, Morty's Roar. Otherwise, I would be able to answer that, but I can't because I don't even know what you mean by what exactly is P dot. Typo, Mike. All right. Okay. So what exactly are you asking then? Oh. And albeit that Darby Allen, and while you're, I guess, re-asking a question, um, Darby Allen suffered his first coffin match loss as Jack Perry retained the Elite. All basically retained their titles as they were set to set Darby Allin on fire. Sting made his return to AEW. Um, let's see. Will Ospreay defeated MJF for the American slash international title. Christian Cage would win the gauntlet match to get a guaranteed shot at the world championship. So Wander Lee drama. I have no idea who or what Wander Lee is. um, I have no idea who or what Wander Lee is. Monty's Roar. So can't answer that one either. Uh, Wendy Lee drama from Bleach. Well, I don't know if there's any continuing drama from. I haven't heard too much. I know she, of course, I know she was. I know. I think she, I know she obviously plays Yorichi, um, in her human form on there. I know, but I don't know if there's any actual drama going on there. Um, I haven't heard of anybody really like go. If you mean are people going after, I don't. I haven't heard of anything of anybody going after her or like. Um, I guess I can check into that at least a little bit here. Okay, maybe I just do it. see. Let's see. I'm looking up. See if there's anything here. Well, I don't see. I don't see any. I don't really see any headlines connected to her that are like recent. All I'm really seeing here is just general data. All right. So basically, yeah, I don't think there is any actual like quote unquote drama going on with Wendy Lee right now, as far as I know, unless you've heard something. Unless you've heard something, Morty's Bear, Monty's Bear. Hmm. Actually, another return that happened at the beginning of the show was Jamie Hayter made her return at the beginning of the show when Soraya came out to complain about the fact she came out with her whole family, which of course Soraya's family is well known on the British wrestling scene. Her brother Zach had recently been working in AEW and Ring of Honor a couple months back. And her whole family was there um, earlier today at the event, and then Jamie Hayter made her return to kind of take out the entire Knight family. So now the thing is, though, is that supposedly Soraya's contract is coming up soon um, with AEW, maybe by the beginning of September here. I don't know if this is just a way to try to get her to re-sign or what, but I kind of thought that Jamie Hayter may come back to back up Britt Baker against Mercedes Moné and and Camille, you know, but I guess they're not going that route there. Um, uh, um, okay. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Let's see. Also happening this over the weekend here, um, NWA Exodus Pro, which of course is owned by current NWA World Champion EC3, had an event yesterday. that you could see on YouTube. Find that. Let's see. NWA Exodus Pro Midwest Journey 2. So, of course, the show opened up with Cal Hero with Al Snow in his corner defeating Hayden Backlund. A 6-man tag. Sam Beal, Lord Crew, and Man Bun Jones with Groovy Grizzlies in their corner. Defeated Carson Drake and the Slime Balls. In the Master of the Canvas presents Ashen Day Story Night match. Ashen Day lost to Sebastian. In a match for the Exodus Pro Midwest Heavyweight title, Pretty Boy Smooth defeated Dante Casanova. In a match for the Midwest the team of Major League of J-Rock and Rex Brody defeated TME, become the new champion. The title was apparently vacant. Tiffany Nieves with Blake Banks in her corner outlasted 3 other women, including current JCP Southeastern Women's Champion Kylie Page, also Kelsey Heather and Maya World, to become the new Exodus Pro Midwest Women's Champion. And in the main event, saw EC3 retain the NWA World Heavyweight title over Richard Holiday. So, let's see. I just realized there was another return for AEW as well, as the Grizzled Young Veterans came in to jump FTR after the tag team, after the Young Bucks had retained the World Tag titles over them. So, let me see now. Let's see now. So, let's see what else. Yeah. Again, just waiting to see if anybody will show up tonight. I gotta give this a shot in the dark here. There's a chance. Darkwing Duck, let's get dangerous. Darkwing Duck, better watch out, you bad boys. Darkwing Duck. I guess I'll talk a little bit about what I read on Friday. So on Friday, of course, this past Friday, we went over comics that went on sale from Fox Feature Syndicate. Went over the features we went over were Dynamo from Science Comics Volume 1 Issue 4, in which, of course, Dynamo was working with a metal coil that turned out to be highly explosive when charged with electricity. Of course, you had some bad guys some saboteurs who tried to get to it where they could use it, but it ended up turning to gold. And we went on to we went on to the Thor feature, Fox's Thor feature, who was Fox's Thor feature. Of course, Fox's version of Thor, not to be confused with Marvel's version of Thor. And of course, one of the things I kind of pointed out and I found interesting about that, you had another case of the the girl wanting the superhero more than the than the alter ego, as it were, as and it kind of wrote it in a way that Glenda, who is the female in there, um, was the love interest of Grant Farrell, who was the alter ego of Thor in that particular universe. Um, she she basically didn't really want to have anything. Was even seemed even annoyed at times that he was trying to protect her. You know, you know, he had tried to invite her out for dinner, and then she refused. But said she was going on a vacation to Europe, but he was concerned for her safety because of the war going on. So he then tried to follow her, and then you know that and then we of course got to the Blue Beetle story in Mystery Men Comics number 10. Your typical extortion story, where you have a game this called the Yellow Gang, who were terrorizing local businesses, bombing businesses, and even though he had the cops chasing him as well, Blue Beetle came in to once again save the day. And he had Stardust taking on the evil Dr. Martinus, who had survived, who had left Earth and went to Mars and made a pact with the Brain Men of Mars. Let me just check something here and see something just came up. Give me a sec here. Yeah, okay. Um, it'll still have to be another 7 minutes. I'm wrapped up with moving related stuff at the moment. Okay. Alright, so at least now with that being said, I guess I can go ahead and go back and reset up what I had before. Just it looked like one of the guys I was gonna looked like Metal will be joining us approximately 7 minutes here. So hopefully that we'll be able to get some good conversation going there. Let's see. Got something I wanted to get his take on. So I'm just preparing that right now. So I have that set up. So anyway, so let's see now. What exactly were we? See. Oh yeah, I was talking about what we read on. So these brain men, typical thought of what aliens look like back in the golden age and into the silver age. So the brain men of Mars had these huge like spherical, these egg-like heads, right, with the big brain up top, and metallic bodies, right. That's what these brain men of Mars look like. it was pretty interesting. Hey, good night, Spoon. How come I'm not a mod? How come you're not a mod? I just haven't thought to make you a mod. I don't necessarily mod everybody. I mod people who usually will have stuff to share most of the time. You know, um, uh, you know, that's a good call. uh, yeah. So, anyways, yeah. And then of course we finished up with the Patio Day story. Um, Patio Day newsreel reporter. She and her cameraman Ham were on vacation in Florida, only to be given an assignment while there of a kidnapping of a famous actress in the Fox feature syndicate world, where Lupe DeVere was essentially being kidnapped for ransom's sake. So, what's on the docket tonight? Well, again, since Rick was busy, just waiting for people to obviously come in so Metal should be here hopefully soon. I got some things I wanted to ask his viewpoint on, but and obviously in trying to and use the time as best I can, I went over, like, of course, couple of wrestling results from this week, all in earlier today here, um, from Wembley Stadium, and then also went over NWA Exodus Pros results from yesterday, and then right now just kind of talking a little bit about what we read on Friday. Yeah, he said he wasn't going to be able to come in tonight because I think he was, I don't remember exactly what it was. I don't know if he had something else to do or something like that, but that's why he's not here. So yeah. So, anyways, seems sus. Yeah. Well, I think he. Oh, I think it had something to do with, I guess, promoting it. I think there's some kind of convention or con he was going or some kind of event where he was going to be able to promote his stuff. So I think he's on another date. No, I don't think that's the case. Um, yeah, I think what it is that I think, as I recall now, I think he had some. I think it had something to do with I think he got a booth at a particular convention or something like that, and he's like just promoting his, basically trying to sell his books, promote his books, and all that. So, well, that's what's kind of going on. Oh yes, the Long Kong, never been there myself. Sounds fun. Yeah. As they were just. Oh yeah, one of the other things too is that Ricochet made his debut in AEW. Just about a couple months after his contract with WWE came up. Um, and oh, there we go. Hey, Metal.
Hello.
Yeah. So, how you doing tonight?
Awful.
Awful. Everything all right?
As all right as it can be. I mean, working up a sweat, moving things, and getting things prepared to leave this place very soon. So
Uh,
it's just been stressful, as moving typically is.
hmm. Yeah, I actually when I was once told that it's like one of like the I think it's the terms of most stressful thing. It's like the fourth most stressful thing or something like that. Let's see, Mike. We should brainstorm a successful IP with the title so we can make a convention called the Long Kong. Let's see. Metal's not in. Oh God.
Thank God I don't need to be on any more projects than I'm currently on anyway.
Yeah, he can be the mark. uh, well, Metal, you're here now. So, would you before we go? Because I do have something I did want to ask you about. Obviously, kind of anime related. But before we get into that, would you like to do an intro tonight? Maybe plug anything you're working on or any project you're doing. Share any links. I think you got.
No, not really. I barely even got my setup ready to be able to do this because I've been moving everything around. I don't want to go digging up any links or anything. The only thing I'll plug is I'm going to Arizona. Okay, so you guys might not see me for a week or two because it's going to be a very rough ride.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know. I don't know if you wanted to talk about that live on air here, or if you want to, if you
Oh
wanted
no,
to.
I've already told people where I'm going.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I know you're. I just wanted to make sure you'd be okay if I had, I know you're like moving out with you're moving to Marsupial's place, your co-host on
Yeah,
the
yeah. We
Vomitorium.
talked about it on the vomitorium, like you know,
All right.
in front of her. Yeah, so no, it's not
I was
keeping
trying to
anything
be
secret.
respectfully polite and respectful of your situation. So, um, all right. So you think you'll be down computer wise at least for a couple weeks? Is that what you're saying?
Um, well, I'm definitely actually. I probably won't even be able to run my show tomorrow, depending how things go, because I think the power might already be cut out before then.
Okay.
So I might even be in here without electricity for the remainder of the week that I'm here. I don't care though, because I don't want to continue paying for the power at this place anyway. Um, but I'm
Are you the
definitely
only
will
one at
not
that
have.
house at this point?
At the moment, it is me and my youngest brother are both
Hmm.
currently here.
Okay.
He's currently chilling on the couch watching either reading manga on his phone or he's watching Twitch on his phone. One of those two things.
Okay. All right.
Taking a break since I'm taking a break. Um, but yeah, we're the only two here at the moment, and I will basically, if the power does go off tomorrow, I will be virtually radio silent until I show up in Phoenix, which will probably be late Saturday or early Sunday.
Okay. So it'll be a little less than a week then, at least.
Yeah, and then I don't know if like the second we get there, I'm gonna have everything set up for us to start the show and everything like that. I probably won't be available to come on the show on Sunday.
Yeah.
That I show up there anyway, so I'll be gone for that. So even around here, you probably won't even see me until the next weekend after that.
Okay. So So basically, you won't be able to come next week, but you think you should be able to come back at least on the Sunday shows the following week.
Maybe it
All
depends
right.
how the setup is. Because at first, we're moving to another apartment, but not right away. So at first, I'm going to be on the couch in Marsupial's current one-bedroom apartment until we move to the other one. So I don't even know if noise pollution recording space is even going to be an option for anything other than our show, which will literally be on the same show with each other.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you'll be at Marsupial's place, so you'll probably be setting up like right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, let's see. Good night, Spoon. It looks like he's trying to stir the pot here a little bit. Let's see. Let's see. Why are you moving anyways, if I may? Well, okay.
You may. I'm not hiding it. So for the last few years after COVID, basically just due to the circumstances of the housing market and everything else, my nuclear family growing up ended up coming back together. So me, my brothers, and both my parents all ended up in the same household. And we were still kind of sticking together for a while, but not this Memorial Day that just passed, but the one before that, my mother passed away. And we've been dealing with that for like the whole last year. But now that she's not here anymore, the lease on this house was coming to an end. Instead of renewing it, we're all just splitting separate ways. And when I brought up my mixed plans to Marsupial, he was like, well, you should just move to Arizona with me. So that's why I'm moving to Arizona. But it is mostly just because everybody else in my household is splitting and going their separate ways. So,
yeah. So let's Mike's being super secretive about it. Well, no, it's not that I was trying to be super secretive about it. I was trying to be discreet. I was trying to be respectful of Metal's privacy. If he wanted, I didn't want him to feel like he had to talk about it if he didn't want to. I was trying to be respectfully discreet about it.
That's okay. I'm not respectful of my own privacy.
So let's see. I'm currently failing a chess tournament. Let's see. Metal, I have an awesome idea. You two should recreate the high five video in person as a channel trailer, but start with the original cut and hard cut to in person. All right. You want to expound on what he's talking about there, Metal?
No, I'm good on that part.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds sad. You don't want to stay near family. Also, you trust Marsupial that much?
I don't have to trust him. Listen, I'm bringing a tent with me. If anything goes south, I'll just start hiking. Okay, you've no idea what type of plans I'm prepared to live in my life. But let's not talk about staying near family. None of my family are staying near each other. Like, even if I had to say pick stay near family, I'd have to pick what part of the family. My dad went across the country already to Illinois. Even my two brothers aren't even staying anywhere near each other. So there's, I mean, I guess I could pick someone else in the family, and but
or you could do like what Rick did and find a cousin to go stay with, right?
Also, I did not delete the video. The video was always unlisted and was just used as a channel trailer. All I did was take it off of that spot from the channel trailer. It's still there, though, just back in the unlisted videos where you can't see it.
And then Goodnight Spoons asked, what are you going to do for work?
That hasn't been entirely figured out yet, but I'm very likely going to probably continue freelancing. In fact, I already have the first gig lined up for me, potentially when I get there, because the company Marsupial works for needs graphic design work. So I'm probably just going to keep doing what I normally do.
Yeah.
You know.
I think they're just going to be it's going to be an interesting balancing act to try to, with everything else going on too. Huh?
Yeah, it's just more of like I don't really have that many online clients. Most of them were in person, so it's just going to go back to rebuilding a list of clientele.
Hmm. And then let's see. We'll have to workshop a new channel trailer, maybe something that actually represents the show this time. Any comments there on that remark?
Listen, if he wants to workshop something, he knows how to contact me directly. We don't have to talk about stuff like that in chat.
All right.
You know.
All right. Well, anyways,
No, I
any,
also have been considering while how about dog walking? I would totally do dog walking freelance. I have before. I just need to find clients. Um, in the meantime, though, while rebuilding a list of clientele, I will be applying for some places too, even if it just even a part-time job, right? Any stable income coming in is good. Specifically going to look at bookstores because I enjoy working at bookstores, but so it's whatever part-time work you can get.
again, like Spoon was saying, he just fell on time. Well, I do have something I was going to ask Metal about, so I want to move on to that. I'll get this last comment, and then I really want to get to what I was going to get to him. Yeah, but I'm genuinely interested in dog walking. All right. So, anyways, so Metal, and I was talking to Rick about this the other day too. One of the things I've been noticing of late, because of course I still will watch. You know what Toonami is, right?
Yes, I grew up on Toonami.
Yeah, and it's still on, right? It's still on Saturday nights and all that. I think I mentioned to you before, right?
Yeah, I just haven't watched it in years. I think I watched it. What was it? When did it come back the first time? It was like 2017 or something. Or the last time that it came back, and it's been continuing since then. I watched it like
Yeah,
when it first came back, and then I just haven't really been watching it because it's honestly TV is a very inconvenient way for me to watch things these days.
yeah. Hold on a sec, Metal. My apparently my let's see. All right, can you hear me, Metal?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Yeah, okay. My signal was like going a little wonky there for a moment. I was getting that little signal icon on the StreamYard there for some reason, but the signal was going a little wonky there. But anyways, well, what the reason I was bringing that, because one of the things I've noticed of late, let's see, one of the things I've noticed of late is that it seems like Toonami now is getting a little, and I think it's due in part to some of the other news that's come out from Warner Brothers. Like first out, they've shut down like the Cartoon Network app, um, moving a lot of the stuff from the Cartoon Network app to Max and all that. But one of the things I've noticed about Toonami is it doesn't seem like they're going out quite as much, going out trying to get new licenses to show on their show. I mean, they did just about a couple weeks ago premiere the Rick and Morty anime that they're showing subbed. Um, but like, so yeah, let me pull that up. Let me pull up the schedule here. Let's see now. Yeah. All right. So this now I know part of this too is, and this is one of the things I was noticing too, because Naruto, they're on the Toonami airings. Shippuden's almost done. The second and last episode aired last night, and then the final episode will air this Saturday night, Sunday morning. But like from the rest of this month, it was like at midnight was Rick and Morty the anime, then followed by Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, which are the only two real like real actual premieres because they're doing the Swordsmith arc on on Demon Slayer. Then on at 1 a.m., One Piece. They're still in the Dressrosa arc. Naruto Shippuden, which is winding down. Dragon Ball Z Kai, which is in reruns. Ninja Kamui. The dubbed episodes are being reran there, and then My Hero Academia in reruns. And then on the 7th, after Naruto goes, then One Piece gets extended to an hour. And then starting on the 14th, I guess the Ninja Kamui reruns will have run their course after the 7th because they're extending My Hero Academia to a full hour. The reruns there. I've noticed that aside from the first two spots, because they're going 12 to 3:30 Eastern, 9 to 12:30 Pacific. They don't seem to be going after any new. Well, there's also some titles that they could start showing again, like Boruto, or like they could bring back Black Clover. They had ran Black Clover to a point, but then didn't finish that up. They don't seem to be, and they've been saying for the last few years they're going to have the anime movie Uzumaki coming out.
Yeah, which is the main reason I haven't been following Toonami, because I think it was back in 2018 they first announced it. 2020 they actually had a teaser for it, and I've been waiting and waiting, and years keep passing, and Uzumaki never happens.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering, what especially with some of the recent news of some of the shakeups going on from Warner Brothers Discovery, with them, like as I said, shutting down the Cartoon Network app, moving a lot of the content to Max. I wonder if there's a possibility within maybe the next year or so, because right now they're showing mostly just reruns now, stuff that's I don't see any indication they're bringing anything. I mean, they were bringing stuff new in, but it was like one or two things at a time. They did get through the whole Food Wars series. They had Licorice Recoil on recently, but but it seems like there's not a whole lot. And of course they did have the Superman, My Adventure with Superman show we talked about too. I don't know how much of this you've been following on your show or not, but I just want to get your take on some of this because it seems like to me the writing seems to be on the wall that the current block of Toonami, as it currently stands, may be running its last legs here, and I just wanted to get your thoughts on it, your observation. I mean, I know you said you haven't really been watching it too much, but
yeah, no, aside from the promise of Uzumaki, even when it came back, I really haven't cared about Toonami since probably 2009, to be honest. Or that's about the last time I really cared about it. And the only reason Toonami is even still around right now is because of Adult Swim. The Adult Swim side of Cartoon Network is what resurrected Toonami. When Adult Swim has some writing that it's on the way out. So that's probably also why Toonami is on the way out too. Yeah. Because Cartoon Network is bottoming out, and Adult Swim is the only thing that's been carrying it as a network.
Right. Well, I know because I know it seems like the writing's on the wall for not just Cartoon Network, but a lot of the subsidiaries of Cartoon Network, like Boomerang, because they moved content from Boomerang to MeTV Toons. I don't know if you heard. I think I mentioned that to you before, but I don't know if you had heard that MeTV is now started up their own classic cartoon channel. A lot of the stuff that was originally on Boomerang back when way back when it first began is now on MTV Toon. Whereas Boomerang nowadays is more. It's almost more like a cast-off channel. And they had in recent years started bringing back like Yogi Bear and stuff like that, but they just primarily they'll show a lot of like Scooby Doo, Popeye, like the main ones, Looney Tunes, and all that. But it just seems like they may be on Boomerang. May be on Boomerang seems to be more of a cast-off channel than anything else now. It's not like it was when it like MeTV Toon seems to be more akin to what Boomerang originally was back when it first came out. Again, any thoughts, observations, or anything like that on what I just said?
No, it's just they've been killing this even beforehand, but all of the animation departments at Warner have slowly been getting killed off, and part of it is when Discovery merged, and basically they call it a merger, and it technically was, but Discovery bought Warner. It was the bigger entity. It basically bought off Warner's debt. That's how the merger happened. Warner has a lot of debt, especially in these like side studios and stuff like that. Most of these animation studios were not making any money. They killed off Rooster Teeth. They sold off Crunchyroll. Really, the only thing that they have left is the main actual previous Warner properties of Cartoon Network, and all the other smaller studios they bought along the way, like Hanna-Barbera and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think they're just keeping IPs and killing off studios.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because again, a lot of the IPs and properties like Warner Brothers, Warner Brothers properties, the Paramount properties they had like Popeye, Superman, Betty Boop, MGM with Tom and Jerry, Barney Bear. A lot of that stuff is going over to me. Well, and MeTV actually had been featuring like MeTV would feature it like on, of course, their weekday morning show Tune In With Me, and then have like a Saturday morning cartoon block, and then on MeTV Plus they'd have Sunday after well, I think it was Sunday evening on the East, like 5 p.m. Eastern time, 2 p.m. Pacific, where they'd have Sunday afternoon cartoons. They also, of course, on MeTV would have, of course, some of Columbia's older stuff, that they would get through like Celebrity Pictures and Charles Mint Studios. Again, you also had, and then of course MeTV just picked up, about a year or so ago, they picked up the Universal catalog that had like a lot of the Walter Land stuff, like Woody Woodpecker, Chili Willy, Andy Panda, that stuff. So, let's see. And let's see what. I'm going to yell at Rick for this. Let's see. Which Scooby Doo? Well, Boomerang show. Well, okay, Boomerang shows all versions. So, you know, um, obviously the original. Let's see. As far as I know, the original they show what's new Scooby Doo, Scooby and Scrappy Doo. All basically I think they have most of those shows.
It's a fair question. There's like 20 Scooby Doos at this point.
Yeah. Warner sucks at management level. It killed their best properties. Well,
it's a multi-tiered issue, right? I mean, all of these big companies suck at the management level, but on top of that, each tier of management sucks, right? Like Rooster Teeth was bleeding itself down without Warner on top of it, right? Yeah. And then, of course, management has demands on these different things too. It's just a complicated mess that is only bound to happen because you need a good admiral at the helm with good captains underneath him.
And initially, a lot of people were praising David Zaslav because he was doing a lot of the cost-cutting stuff, but now, it's like people are now. Obviously, there's signs of mismanagement there. Yes, Boomerang was showing Mystery Inc. as well. I mean, they were showing a lot of the properties there. Yeah, but
Cartoon Network's been bleeding money for years, right? People like, oh, of course they're bleeding money. All they do is show Teen Titans Go all day. So showing Teen Titans Go all day was the only way they could save money. They were bleeding money before they started doing that.
Yeah, that's something that kind of irritates me, dude. And I've seen other like that's what happened with Funimation Channel too. it got to the point where they'd only show like a small handful of shows like 4, 5, 6 times a day. It's like, okay, I liked Oron High School Host Club. It was a good show, but I didn't need to see it on like 6 times a day.
Oh yeah, I actually just rewatched that back in February.
You know, with as many properties as these companies have, with as many cartoons out there, I mean, you know, you can vary it
Listen,
up. I mean, one of my main criticisms with like Tune In With Me right now on MeTV is that, okay, so Tune In With Me airs Monday through Fridays, 7 a.m. It's an hour program, 7 a.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific. I record it to watch later in the day because I'm not up at like 4 a.m. in the morning usually. Um, and they basically in that hour time span, they have like 5 slots to show cartoons, right? And when they quote unquote have extra slots there, they usually will slot those. So, like, I would love it more if they, so the set of properties that MeTV shows, right? They have the Warner Brothers properties, they have the MGM properties, they have Paramount properties, Universal, and Columbia. Now I'm basing it more on the distributors, obviously, but they have five sets, and there are times they'll show like 2 or 3 Warner Brothers, and then they'll show 1 or 2 of each of the others. They might have as many as 3 Warner Brothers, and only one of like Paramount, Columbia, Universal, MGM, and that kind of irritates me because, yeah, I get it. Warner Brothers is they have some cool stuff, but it would be nice if they would change it up a bit. If they show like go a 2-2-1, but where maybe they go show two Paramount cartoons, 2 MGM, and maybe a universe. Maybe have sometimes where you don't show a Warner Brothers. I mean, it's kind of funny because on Pluto TV for a while there, they had a classic TV channel that had all the King Feature stuff, Popeye and all that, and a lot of their properties. And I eventually got sick of that too because they were overdoing it, um, but
I don't know. I think you underestimate how often I can just watch the same thing. I've seen all of Ranma One Half twice in this year. Um, Mostly, I mean, the second time I was showing some people who had never seen it before, but I've watched it twice in this year. And I'll be honest, I know exactly where Cartoon Network, specifically Adult Swim / Toonami, went wrong. They cursed themselves. The only thing they had to do to keep going strong, to pay ritual to the gods that keep that network going, was continue to run Inuyasha twice in a row at 4 o'clock in the morning every single morning. If they did that, everything would be running fine.
why do you say that? Because I know even people who were watching it back when it was around, aren't gonna be still up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
I would be. I've seen Inuyasha like 5 or 6 times all the way through, just because I would watch it every single morning on Cartoon Network, and it would just keep cycling all the way through 2 episodes at a time.
Well, I've seen it all the way through a few times too myself, but
That's it. It is not about whether they're watching or not. It's a ritual. They upset the natural order of things, and that's why everything started to go wrong.
yeah. So let's see. I've counted 26. I guess 26 Scooby Doo episodes. 14 listed series. 12 movies. Velma and Scoob did not make the last or lost. Yeah, I like some of the Scooby Doo movies too. My favorite, one of my
I
favorites
believe he
is
means
Scooby Doo
did
and the
not
Gold
make the
Force.
list.
Huh? What was that?
I think it's supposed to be did not make the list. I'm guessing.
Did not make the yeah. Well, I figured that too. But, nor did any of the live action movies or the Daphne Velma spin-off films. Let's see. Well Gang looks like we're got a mystery on our hands. Jinkies. uh, and of course, speaking of Velma for a moment, not that I want to get into any like big political discussion or too much, but she's been Mindy Kaling, who of course provides the voice of Velma in Velma, her own little self insert. She's been making the rounds on the political. She was at the DNC this past week, and there's also been a video going around because people have been talking about how Kamala, how for the majority of her life she has claimed her Indian heritage and just more recently started claiming Black heritage. But there's that video out there. I don't know if you've seen it, Metal, but where Mindy has invited Kamala, and they're doing like an Indian cooking show together or something like that.
I have not seen that. I try not to see things like that.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I mean, again, I've seen the only reason I've seen it because again, some of the political commentators I watch were showing that, going back to the whole idea of Kamala, and how, her racial ethnic identity, all that discussion. But anyways, we just passed the hour mark here. Yeah, so basically, I wanted to get your thoughts on this thing with. So, I don't see, at least from what little I've seen and what little I've noticed, and maybe they're not announcing stuff as much anymore, but it doesn't seem like they're going after a lot of new properties. It doesn't seem like they're really doesn't seem like they're going after new properties, going after new licenses. Some of the newer stuff that they do seem to be pushing is more stuff that seems to be more being produced on our end, on the stateside end. Like, even though I know Rick and Morty anime is probably, now according to some of the things I've read, Rick and Morty anime is supposed to, I guess, take place in the time between the 5th and 6th season. And it's subbed, by the way. So yeah, so let's see. 104.
I think I would have been more interested in the Rick and Morty anime if it was its own thing and had nothing to do with the main show. Like it was just a Japanese retelling or like their idea of what Rick and Morty was.
Yeah. Anyways, I mean, I was just, as I said, I was thinking about some of the shows they could have brought back, that I think people still would have been interested in watching. Like, now, albeit I do know that recently, because I did catch some of, Flash's stream when he talked about this a little bit. Apparently, a lot of you are not too keen on Boruto. Even
well, I was barely keen on Naruto, let alone Boruto.
Yeah. Well, I guess I can understand, now from what I've read of it, because more of the show was shown, but apparently now Boruto is somewhat of a rogue ninja now because they made it appear that he ended up killing his parents, which he actually did not. He just sent them to another dimension with his new dojutsu. But they have material they could bring in that would probably pick things up a little bit, and people, and then of course they could bring back Black Clover and finish that on. But then, as one of the things Rick and I were kind of talking about, debating a little bit when we were talking about the other day too. Maybe they just have chosen not to, because first off, of course, the shows could be were probably being shown on like Netflix and those things, and that's probably why they didn't feel the need to bring them to Nami. But anyways, Metal, was there anything else? Um, maybe you wanted to bring up or talk about in the world of in the world of anime, cartoons, comics, manga, or pro wrestling?
Well, I really haven't been paying attention to much. It's been a pretty busy week. I spent most of the last few days moving things around, like on what was it, Wednesday specifically. I think it was Wednesday. I ended up moving most of my brother's stuff to his new apartment, and even yesterday we had to go and get him a new couch and everything, and I had to struggle to get a couch through his narrow apartment way into his narrow doorway, and I had to do some like spatial geometry to make it get in there right. So yeah, I really haven't been paying attention to too many things other than that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I just figured I'd give you a shot there. With the fact Rick wasn't going to be here, and rather than just since that was the main thing I wanted to talk about, rather than getting any articles together, I think it might be a good point to kind of close everything out here. I know I normally try to go 2 hours, but sometimes just going just over an hour is fine too. Especially when there's
It depends what you want to do,
All right, let's see. All right, so what we're gonna do here, we're gonna start to wind things down.
I know I do have to watch something later tonight before everything gets shut down. I have to catch up on the Deer show.
All right. So, anyways, before I get today is Sunday, of course, August 25th, um, 20 20 2024 here. So, but before we get into taking a look back at this weekend in each history, Metal, I'll ask this again, of course. Would you like to do an outro?
No, I'm good.
All right. All right. So first off, we're going to go back to yesterday. We're going to go back 90 years ago yesterday, back to 1934. As on yesterday's date, back in 1934, Terry Toons, which of course was the company that produced Mighty Mouse cartoons, among other things. The 7-minute animated short Mice in Control premiered in movie theaters on yesterday's date back in 1934, 90 years ago. Mice hold a convention in Atlantic City to discuss the cat menace and how to solve it. So there we go with that. And now, moving ahead about 15 years to 1949 on yesterday's date. We do have somebody who just came in here. Let's see. Comdos. I would have been here quicker, but I was uploading to my yeah. I'm sorry about that. We're thank you for coming in there, Comdos. I guess Comdos now. I know you were known as if I'm guessing right, you were Netsuni before. I guess is your new name. I guess you're going with, but yeah, we're just you can always go back and watch the show, catch what you missed. But I'm getting ready to wind things
Well,
down.
if we're cutting early and somebody happens to have a question, we can always answer a couple after niche history is done.
Yeah, yeah. I'm Netsuni, but I rebranded because I changed my name due to YouTube purposes. All right, so Comdost. All right.
Branding
Um,
is everything.
yeah. So, anyways, moving on to the next piece of me, as I said, moving ahead 15 years to 1949, and on yesterday's date in 1949, which of course was 75 years ago yesterday. The 40th issue of Fawcett's Marvel Family went on sale on newsstands. It sold for 10 cents, 32 pages. Of course, the Seven Wonders of the Modern World was the main story, featuring the Marvel family. The Marvel family was what you might say is a team up book where basically the three Marvels, Captain Marvel Jr., and Mary Marvel, all basically would team up with a team up book, and
It's one
then
thing I've actually always disliked about super families and stuff like that. And I get it, it's because you have to make them at a glance look like they belong to each other, where there's all these other slews of superheroes out there. But it's just kind of boring that everybody looks like they're basically wearing the same costume. You could like change up the color scheme a little bit or something, but
well, they did between Captain Marvel
well,
and Captain
yeah.
Marvel Jr.
Yeah, and eventually later too, they rocked up the color scheme even more, which some of their later schemes showed up in the Shazam movie where everybody had different colors. But it's just all like reds and yellows. Even if you have like a little black there, it's still just a bunch of red and yellow.
Mhm. Yeah, and then the headline Harry the Starry Night feature. So 75 years ago yesterday, the 40th issue of Marvel Family, took place. So let's see. Now we'll get to today. Let's see. First off, 30 years ago today, on this date, 30 years ago today, as soon as I pull that up, back in 1994, um, Takuma Shoten and Jitensha's OVA, um, Cosmic Fantasy Galaxy Cougar's Trap, based on the Cosmic Fantasy video game series, was released in 1994 on VHS and Laserdisc shortly before the release of the game Cosmic Fantasy 4. So on this date 30 years ago today, the OVA Cosmic Fantasy Galaxy Cougar's Trap um, was released on this date back in 1994. Any thoughts on that, Metal?
Not too much, other than the fact that like I've never heard of Cosmic Fantasy as a game, which makes sense because it was apparently for the PC Engine, which was a CD console that I never owned. I didn't know anybody who owned it. I just vaguely heard about it at the time. I might go and see if I can emulate it because I like playing old fantasy games.
All right, so let's see. I have a question for Metal from Goodnight Spoon. When it's question time, okay? Okay, we'll do some question answer afterwards. So our last piece in each history, of course, going back just 10 years ago today, back to 2014. Um, on this date back in 2014, 10 years ago today, WWE held its Monday Night Raw event from the Honda Center in Anaheim, California. Let's see. Let's see. The main event saw John Cena, Mark Henry, and Big Show team up to defeat the Wyatt family of Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, and Eric Rowan. Um, as I guess was set up by an earlier match in which John Cena defeated Bray Wyatt by DQ right before. Let's see. Roman Reigns defeated Seth Rollins and Kane by DQ in a 2-on-1 handicap match. Let's see. Stardust and Goldust defeated the Usos by countout in a match to determine the number one contender to the United States Championship. Cesaro defeated Rob Van Dam, and Rusev defeated Jack Swagger by KO. So that all happened 10 years ago. So now with all that, before we head out, I guess we will have a bit of a question and answer segment, as Metal suggested. All right, good night, Swing. You said you had a question for Metal. Feel free to ask it then.
Yeah, lay it on me. Also, good news, Anaheim is no longer the carjacking capital of the world. It's been beaten out by DC.
Well, I guess that's good, at least from a reputational standpoint.
Yeah. Yes, if he should be suing John, which I'm going to assume is John Dillard, somebody we both know, especially given the other context, and Yellow Flash. I'm going to need the context to know why. Now, especially since Dillard is
why would you want
friend of mine, I'm going to probably say no. There's some bias there, I'll admit, especially because he's got a family he takes care of. But before I lean into my bias, I'm going to have to know why contextually.
And then DC, he also said DC Comics too.
No, the District of Columbia.
Oh.
Because of the book reveal, because there's mummies and I don't know what grounds you would have to sue on that. Not only do I don't think anybody would take your case, I think it would be thrown out.
Oh, Metal, you want to catch me up to speed on that? Because I don't even know what he's talking about.
Oh, have you not seen? So, Yellow Flash, which they've been working behind a little bit in front too, has all been promotional. But he actually did the big reveal for the campaign for his comic book that he's doing, which God, what's it called? It's like Mighty Gold something. I'm trying to remember the name of it. But it's like a Sentai, right? Like almost like a Power Ranger type thing, but with traditional superpowers. He's like flying around. He's got super strength and stuff. Let me see if I can find the name of this.
Well, yeah,
and John Dillard is the.
I've seen that, and,
okay.
And I know. Ethan has also kind of said something about it. I just, I think it is Mighty Golden something though.
Yeah, and our friend John Dillard is the comic artist on there.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, there's been a few people who were still like stragglers in Comicsgate that kind of like just finally abandoned the title because of how Ethan attacked it, going behind people's back and stuff like that. Specifically Dillard. He was trying to get Dillard off the project. I heard, I'm a little out of the loop, this is what I heard from backstage stuff, in favor of getting one of his industry friends in there instead. So
wait, okay. As I understand it, Ethan's concern with the project wasn't as much that. It was more that he thought that he didn't necessarily agree with how Ripa and Flash were actually doing business. It was like they're like, well, do you pay your artists before or do you pay your artists after? You give them a share of it now, and and then you get a.
Dillard's getting a really big back end share.
Yeah.
Mighty Golden Patriot.
Yeah, I heard.
It, yeah.
Yeah. What if I just backhand them vigorously, and then I missed the C. I missed that. CG is over. Yeah, I mean, it
To
seems
be
like
fair, CG's been over for a while, right? It's been a shell of itself for quite a
well
long
because it's
time
been
with a
kind of
bunch of people who
fragmented. It's like
separated.
it, I
Yeah.
think it's been kind of more or less fragmented because at this point, everybody's kind of gone off on their. It's like, yeah, it's more like a lot more infighting now. It's like instead of like instead of fighting off the mainstream, now they're like fighting each other. It's like got Ethan going after Rippa, Ethan going after Rippa and Flash and Rippa going after Ethan. I know Doug Tenable kind of you know is out of the loop now as well. I mean, it's like it just seemed like it's kind of funny because even Tug is mentioned. That's part of the reason why he doesn't like these hashtag type situations because eventually they do break down. You know, um, but
Yeah.
uh,
Well, it was eventually going to fragment, like, regardless, but around the same point that like Gamergate started to fragment, and it's when people started using the moniker to try to
mhm,
make a profit off of it. And at least with Comicsgate, it made a little bit more sense because it had more industry people involved in it instead of just online consumers. And the idea of making comics that answer the problem makes sense on paper. But anytime somebody jumps onto a movement to start making money, it's going to start causing drama.
mhm,
And everything exploded over time, several different explosions, until it was fragmented into a bunch of different pieces.
mhm, yeah. I mean, it's kind of funny. I had never necessarily considered myself comics kid just simply because I was in the. I thought it was just creators. I'm more of a commentator, so I never really. But
It
then,
started out as a consumer movement. The
yeah,
creators moved on to it later.
yeah, but Doc Blaylock explained to me that I probably was part of because I still believed in a lot of what their core values were, which probably is true, you know.
In fact, it was, well, people on Twitter specifically, but like the beginning of the movement was entirely carried by commentators. Like that was the movement.
Hmm, yeah.
But but personally, like I was never against somebody calling me that,
Hmm.
and I was active in the circles and even in the discussions, but I would never call myself one of those hashtags or whatever because I always see it more as like an idea than something you could actually call yourself.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
it's when
I'm not
people
even
started
sure if
using it as an
everybody
identity
who was
that,
initially in comics get even
yeah.
considered. I mean, I don't like for I don't know if RJ would still consider himself comics gate or not, let's see. Goodnight Spoon has a couple more things to say. What are they going after each other for? I pretend I was here starting in 2018, but then pretend I haven't been around for 4 years hypothetically.
Yes, yes, purely hypothetically, entirely. I actually don't know what they're going after each other for. Like I said, I've only heard things. It does
Mhm.
seem just more of Ethan huffing his own fumes at this point, like he's been doing for quite a while now.
Well, I know Ethan was the one who actually got the, I guess, copyright trademark of Commonsgate. He's the one that actually went out and locked that in. Um, so, yeah, I thought it was like a chips and uh,
I think it's supposed to be Crips and
yeah,
Bloods.
Crips and
Yeah.
blood thing. The only was to get out was death.
Though Chips and Bloods doesn't sound like a bad dessert. It sounds like you're going to be eating like spuds in blood pudding, which could be pretty good.
Yeah.
Or I guess ketchup too, like just fries and ketchup would be chips and bloods. That sounds all right, you know.
Yeah. I never identified with any of that. Yeah. I mean, I obviously got involved in the situation. Well, it's kind of funny because, like, even it doesn't seem like for example, with like Yellow Flash, he doesn't talk as much about comics anymore. He's talking more about like mainstream Hollywood now, more and more. Granted, still covering like the comic based movies, the anime based movies, but it seems like he's gone away from it. Tug's gone away from it. So I mean, you know, um, yeah. So let's see now. I view myself as entirely autonomous and independent of social hierarchies.
Same, actually. I don't think you've ever said a statement I agree more with than that.
And then Monty's boar, who was in here earlier, Andrew ditch the poopy diaper monster. He's insane. Sorry, all right, whatever that's all supposed to mean. But John and Yellow Flash will kneel before me. Oh boy. So okay, so
Well, here's
Meadow,
the thing too. Even if he
Can you
did
explain to
have
me why Goodnight Coon thinks he even has a
Okay, no, here's the
case?
thing. He can't have a case, right? Now, if he was some other guy that we knew before, a former friend of ours named Evan Hotep, who was an American mummy, that would kind of make some sense. He still wouldn't have much grounds, but at least it would make sense as to why. But I don't get why Goodnight Spoon would think he has grounds on this at all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like scratching my. I mean, I you know, snitches get okay. Anyways, um, long story short, he's a little cow. Okay. Yeah. So, anyways, we are coming up on an hour and a half. Mark and I've already done.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Niche history's been done. Unless somebody has like a quick, interesting question, it probably is about time to wrap up.
yeah. So we'll be back tomorrow night. Of course, hopefully we'll have Rick on tomorrow night. We'll be of course getting back into the niche news this Friday. Of course, RJ Carter will be joining me as we'll be continuing our trip down comics history lane. We'll be back in March 1940. This week we'll be focusing in on Hillman periodicals. Be looking at Miracle and Rocket Comics Volume 1's Issues 3 on each of those. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.